Hey guys, it kind of still feels incredible that we're just casually throwing words all around like Tomb Raider Last Revelation Remastered or Angel of Darkness Remastered and these things, but it is happening, it is very much real, and a couple of days later I'm kind of joining the party just to share my first impressions with you guys. Now, full disclaimer, this is not a full review. If it be up to me, I would first beat each of these games to completion and then give you my full opinion. Unfortunately, I was not able to do that simply because I haven't received a review copy or anything like that. But I have purchased the Good Old Games version, the Steam version, and the PSN Network version, so PlayStation 4 and 5 bundled together, on day one. And I kind of pre-downloaded them, and when I came back, because I was busy on February 14th, I finally got to play them, I took some notes, and now I'm just gonna share my observations with you, okay? All the footage you're gonna see today is from the Good Old Games PC version, but I'm also gonna mention a couple of very important things and differences I noticed in PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 version. I cannot really comment on Steam, haven't even booted it up, nor other platforms like Switch or Xbox, okay? Or Epic Games Store. Just full disclosure, so you might already notice some differences in case you're using one of these platforms. Anywho, the way I'm gonna do this is I'm not really gonna be focusing on reviewing my first impressions from the games themselves that I know very well. Instead, I'm gonna be focusing on the remastered treatment. How good of a job did the remasters do as opposed to the original releases? Is there something better? Is there something perhaps missing? And also, how did they do compared to 1, 2, 3 Remastered, the previous remastered package? I think it's very important to critically look at this because the asking price is the same, so I think it's only fair we compare the value proposition. Of course, not taking into consideration your own preference of which is your favorite entry. Alright guys, so with that, let's take a look into the main menu. Now, I was blown right out of the park with how gorgeous the flybys look now. It is incredible and stunning detail, it really makes me happy. Not just the textures, but the geometry, the skyboxes, the lighting, the shadows, honestly, everything we've come to expect from 1 to 3 Remastered after a couple of major patches. Now, immediately went and checked what languages are available. Unfortunately, there's not the full complement of languages that is currently available in 1 to 3 Remastered. However, those that are here will sometimes change the logo and also even the jewel case cover art when you switch in between menus, which I thought is an awesome attention to detail. Furthermore, the logos are different based on whether you're booting up the PC or PlayStation version of the game, which again, absolutely incredible attention to detail. I'm also happy to say that this package remembers the last game you play, so the next time you boot it and you played Angel of Darkness, that's where it's gonna take you. This was an issue that took a while to fix in the previous remastered package, where it would always boot you to Tomb Raider 1 no matter what. That's been resolved. Now I immediately checked the control scheme and I was so happy to see the shortcuts menu. All the shortcuts in the game being fully transparent, so we don't have to look them up on other websites or ask people on forums, that sort of thing. No, they are here. However, and this is a big however, you cannot edit them, you cannot even swap them around. You are stuck with these shortcuts whether you like them or not. However, plugging in my PS5 DualSense or the latest Xbox controller, none of the shortcuts would show, and in-game I could not execute any of the shortcuts, which is odd. I never encountered this kind of a problem with a controller on the PC version. Now, as a keyboard player, this doesn't bother me that much. But for those of you guys who are playing PC with a controller, let me know if the shortcuts worked for you at all. Now, I also really like to customize my controls to play them comfortably, both on a controller and a keyboard. With keyboard, I had no problems here whatsoever, everything was fully customizable. With a controller, however, I encountered an issue, and guys, let me know if you encountered the same, but whenever I would try to assign the circle or the B button to anything, it would instead close the menu and take us a step back to the previous menu rather than recognize it as a mappable input. This essentially means that outside of the defaults, which I actually really don't like, you cannot assign the circle to anything and you cannot sort of customize your controls, or so I thought. I tried this in Tomb Raider 4, it failed. I tried this in Tomb Raider 5, it failed. I went to Angel of Darkness and there it correctly recognized my circle input. And imagine my surprise when I then came back to Tomb Raider 4 and suddenly it was there. So this means that all 3 games share the controls. You set them, that is, controls for the tank control separately and for the modern control separately. So if you use one of these schemes for all 3 games, you're gonna have such an easy time to transition and not have to learn a completely new control scheme, which is absolutely awesome. I love that these settings are shared, and honestly, Angel of Darkness really helped me out here, because of this bug, I would never be able to assign the circle button to walk key in the Tomb Raider 4 and 5 without it. I was also trying to find some information about the new moves here, and honestly all I found was the slide to run toggle, but I did not find anything about the new moves for grabbing ledges, and this means they are not toggleable. Whether you like them or not, you are stuck with them, which honestly concerns me that I might occasionally end up triggering them when I don't actually want to. However, I do have to say they look great. These ones are taken directly from Angel of Darkness, and similar to, climbing upon ledges whilst doing a handstand holding the walk key, you can now do this kind of reverse handstand flourish, which is absolutely phenomenal, especially seeing young Lara pull this off. I don't know, put a huge smile on my face. It will take time for me to figure out whether I would like these to be toggleable or not. I guess nothing or no one would be offended via there being toggles by these, but currently, as of now, they are not available to be toggled off. One thing that I noticed is completely missing from 4 and 5 Remastered, that is in Tomb Raider 3 Remastered, is the crawl climb from a ladder. This came very useful in the Temple Ruin Spike Wall and places like that, where you could initiate a climb into a crawl from a ladder grabbing animation. And this seems to be completely missing in 4 and 5, at least as far as manual input is concerned. There is still going to be one place in a later level, footage of which I'm just going to show you very briefly, where this happens automatically in the original. I'm going to assume this is going to happen automatically in the remastered version of Tomb Raider 5 as well, but you cannot initiate it manually. This honestly sucks, and I miss this move despite not being all that useful, because it just gives us higher control over Lara. Another thing I found missing, in the previous 3 remastered versions of the game, you could toggle the walk to action feature. Now, I think most people really like this because it makes Lara automatically walk to pick up or to a switch to interact with. I personally don't, because this slows the gameplay down. Instead, in the original previous 3 games, Lara would kind of instantly teleport to the pickups or switches, which, to be fair, was a bit immersion breaking. I get it, so it comes down to personal preference, but in the original trilogy this was not there and was added as an optional toggle in the remasters. In the original Tomb Raider 4 and 5, this was there and wasn't toggleable, so the remasters here are not doing anything wrong. I would just appreciate if this would be a toggle here as well, because the previous trilogy package added a certain standard. 2 new things I immediately noticed and that made me very, very happy. You can finally toggle the original graphics 30 FPS cap. You can do this both on consoles and on PCs, and I can't begin to tell you how awesome it feels to now switch to the original graphics and not be bogged down by the awful 30 FPS. Please Aspire, patch this back to the previous remastered trilogy. There is no reason to do this cap. If you're a PC user, you don't want to wait for Aspire, or maybe they'll never get around to do it, hard to say. There are of course mods you can use to lift this FPS cap. But again, mods shouldn't be required for this, and it's not going to make us appreciate the remastered graphics any less. I don't really understand this decision. However, it could of course in the original game somehow negatively impact some of the sprites when it comes to fires or water. Honestly, small price to pay, and making it a toggle, you'll make everyone happy and they can customize it however they see fit. So this is an awesome step in the right direction, and I want to see this implemented in 1, 2, 3. Secondly, pickup highlights. It seems again Saber have addressed a feedback where all the objects in the remastered graphics of the previous trilogy were visible even in complete darkness, which is just not correct. It also made using flares a bit less useful in Tomb Raider 2 and 3. Well, this time this is not a default setting, but instead an optional toggle, meaning you can fit it to your own preference. For first-time players, I can't recommend it enough. For us veterans, it's far more satisfying to actually illuminate corridors with gunfire or with flares to pick up those goodies. By the way, notice how those highlights only are in effect as you approach the items, not from complete distance, so it seems that there is still some compromise with this. Furthermore, quick saves toggle. So this doesn't mean that if you toggle it off, you will not be able to use the quick save shortcut. It just means that rather than opening up a saves menu for you to pick a slot, you will automatically save in a dedicated quick save slot. One other thing I noticed absent from the menus is the gallery. In the originals, you had to beat the game once to unlock a gallery and also find the secrets, and for Tomb Raider 4, the Dreamcast version of the game had an unlockable gallery. For Tomb Raider 5, the PS1 and PC, not sure about the Dreamcast one, also had unlockable galleries, provided you found all secrets in a certain geographical region or chapter of the game. Then you could access it, check out concept arts, even some videos showing early footage of the making making of Angel of Darkness, back when the hype was really building up for the game and none of us knew how it's gonna turn out. So I really hope this has made the transition into the remasters, but I cannot yet confirm it, guys, because I haven't beaten either of the games. For those of you who already have, and you have found also all the secrets, because this is an important requirement in the originals, please let us know if a gallery made it to the remasters. I really hope so. They did also tease us via the PlayStation blog post about some sort of unlockable art badges. Honestly, I hope these are the gallery unlockables and not the achievement icons that they were talking about. Where things fall apart for me is the FMVs. When it comes to Last Revelation, the FMV touch-ups I could barely even notice. I was hammering the toggle button during them, and I noticed that the remasters just make certain parts of the already black screen a bit darker. And that's it. No other touch-ups I have noticed. For Tomb Raider 5, the same thing. You will notice which version of the graphics toggle you are using by the either pixelated or normal subtitles. I think the pixelated ones are way too pixelated, a gripe I had in the previous remastered package, and really all the toggle does, it just switches the slightly darker or slightly brighter filter. That's it, doesn't actually clean them up. Now I understand how difficult it is to do anything with FMVs, they are for all intents and purposes rather untouchable. Nevertheless, they did an outstanding job cleaning them up in the previous remastered trilogy, and I think it's only fair this set my expectation. Where this expectation was not at all met was the Angel of Darkness FMVs. Now maybe the later FMVs will look better, but from the ones I've seen so far, these look exactly as, I don't know, just dirty and grainy, and I don't think this is artistic choice, by the way, as they did on the PC release, and I cannot comment on the PS2 because I've never played it, but honestly the FMVs are a huge disappointment for me of this remastered package. But at least the new format of subtitles is nice, so there's that. Now on to the photo mode. So guys, I'm happy to say that the new features when it comes to the camera angles and flybys seem to work flawlessly. I played with them around for a while. It might even be the same technology used by the original core era devs for the menu flybys for 4 and 5. And also for the custom loading screens, but this is here, it's awesome, it's a lot of fun, undoubtedly gonna create lots of YouTube shorts across the community, but it is what it is. Where I'm a bit disappointed is, well, we were promised the original trilogy outfits making the cut here, but they're not here. In Tomb Raider 4 and 5, you're only gonna find Tomb Raider 4 and 5 outfits. In Angel of Darkness, you're only gonna get Angel of Darkness outfits. This is a huge disappointment for me, personally, because it would be a nice transition. I would also expect them to patch 4 and 5 and even Angel of Darkness outfits back to the previous remastered trilogy, you know, to tease people a little, to maybe motivate them to purchase the next remastered package. It would just be a really lovely tribute to the fans, but alas, it is not here. Nevertheless, the photo mode is still an amazing addition to the remasters. Overall, because it allows you free camera movement across the levels, you can absolutely plan ahead your next steps, which is crucial for these older Tomb Raiders. In Angel of Darkness, I'm honestly not surprised anymore that they've never showed it in the pre-release footage, because it's just so bare bones. No custom camera angles, there are only very few game outfits, nothing from previous games. Even the facial expressions you can toggle for Lara, they don't look very good, they are not very expressive. I actually find them to work better for Lara's older model rather than the new one. And also in Angel of Darkness, I was constantly restricted via invisible barriers for the camera flyby, which honestly helped me identify these invisible barriers when playing the game. For example, look at this wall over here. I would think you can jump or run through it, but photo mode confirmed there's an invisible barrier. So in a sense, it's a useful tool to identify this, but I just honestly wish we could do without those invisible barriers. But knowing in what technological state Angel of Darkness is, maybe it's what keeps the whole game from falling apart somehow. So that's it. Furthermore, guys, I have seen a couple of rumors and even seen footage of people being able to trigger photo mode when in the menu of Tomb Raider 4 and 5. I thought, my goodness, this is awesome. So I tried it and it doesn't work. I don't know if this is for people who received the early review copy and this was patched out or what's happening, but neither on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 or GOG I was able to trigger photo mode in the cutscenes, which is a bummer because it'd be the only opportunity we would get to properly check Lara's home in Tomb Raider 5 Chronicles via a flyby. But alas, as of right now, it doesn't seem to work. Aspire, please patch this back. Don't tell me this is a bug, this is absolutely a feature we all want. Booting up Tomb Raider 4 5 and opening up your in-game inventory, you're immediately gonna notice the addition of Lara's sunglasses, which absolutely warms my heart. In the original, you had a completely separate pause menu for options, statistics, and going back to the main menu. Here they combine them into one inventory screen, which I actually like. The only problem being, there's now nothing that pauses the game and the time taken run up. So even if you have your inventory open, just like in the previous 3 games, the clock is still ticking. So my recommendation, if you want to pause the game, open the photo mode. That prevents the clock from ticking. Anywho, these sunglasses are a window into the same options you would see in the main menu, into your outfit and sunglasses selector, and also saving and loading. I'll be honest, I miss those floppy disks for Tomb Raider 5 or the ancient Egyptian tablets for Tomb Raider 4, but of course this means there'll be less scrolling in the inventory, so the utilitarian advantages far outweighed the sort of aesthetics that we now missed. So this is good. Furthermore, the collectible golden skulls in the introductory Cambodia levels, or also the golden roses in Tomb Raider Chronicles, do not take up inventory space, making for faster scrolling. They are all displayed on the side. Now this is a huge improvement because you can finally see how many secrets are within a given level. The original Tomb Raider 4 was absolutely awful in this regard. It would tell you there are 70 secrets in the game, good luck finding them all. It's like they just didn't care or couldn't be bothered. One of the things that really soured my enjoyment of Lost Revelation. Whereas now, you finally see how many secrets are in each level. But this is where the statistics screen set up expectations that it did not meet. Let me show you the new stats. Again, vast improvement over the original, in some ways, but not in others. So first and foremost, the distance traveled, time taken is just the same. There's also the tracking of shots fired, but for some reason not of shots hit anymore, like in the previous 3 games. So you don't really know what your accuracy is, which kind of just loses the whole point of this statistic for me. Furthermore, there is a very lovely addition of kills and pickups. I was so happy to see this. Thank you so much, Remasters. Alas, it didn't take long for me to figure out, oh, these are the pickups and kills, again, for the entire game, not for a level. And I thought to myself, okay, kinda makes sense for Tomb Raider 4 because you can revisit the same levels over and over, it's a bit non-linear, so maybe it was difficult to pull off there. But there's no excuse to have it like this also for Tomb Raider 5, to show the whole game statistics. You should show us the level-specific ones. And here's the real kicker, in Angel of Darkness, they also gave us a statistics screen, which I really appreciate, and somehow, despite Angel of Darkness also being in many places non-linear, like the Parisian ghetto, where you have a central hub and you can keep revisiting levels over and over, they did manage to give us a level-specific statistics for pickups and kills. So why was this not possible for The Last Revelation? Now I'm sure there's a good reason, I just don't know what it is, and it's a bit of a bummer. But overall, the in-game statistics are a vast improvement over the originals, where again, the pickups wouldn't be tracked at all. Kills, by the way, would also cease to be tracked, and I'm so curious to dive into Tomb Raider 4 and figure out what is considered a kill and what isn't. If running over enemies is a kill, and also if taking care of certain skeleton friends in certain ways will be considered a kill or not. That's all I'm gonna say to that without further spoilers. One issue I have also noticed in Angel of Darkness, however, is while I'm happy it tracks the kills, it tracks them in an awkward way. I take down an enemy and I get a kill. Awesome. I take down a second enemy and I'm still at 1 kills. Then I take the third enemy and I'm suddenly at 3 kills. Weird things like that keep happening, and I think the kills tracking in Angel of Darkness is a bit messed up. However, in the end, you are gonna end up, at least from my experience, with the correct number. It's just the way to get to the correct number and the gradual tracking that seems to be somehow messed up and needs more tweaking. One other gripe I noticed when playing the Times exclusive level, the vessels broken number would not increase no matter how many vessels I would break. I do not know if this is also an issue in the main game of Tomb Raider 4, because I didn't make it to burial chambers where there are few vessels to be broken, and also keep in mind this probably just tracks the jars, the vessels you can break, not all breakable objects, because there are far more. That's something I'm gonna track manually when we tackle this game. But for Times exclusive level, this counter just wasn't working. But let us know, guys, in the comments please, if this counter does work for you in the core game of Tomb Raider 4. One good thing about the pickups tracker, nevertheless, however, is that there are a few instances in Tomb Raider Chronicles where you will get respawning ammo boxes because certain kinds of ammo is required to continue the level and figure out a puzzle. And those, upon repeated pickups, will not artificially increase your pickups count. I cannot begin to tell you how much I appreciate that. Another item in Lara's toolbox I was really looking forward to was the Binoculars. These are a phenomenal addition to the series, introduced in Tomb Raider 4 and maintained in Tomb Raider 5, but you can absolutely zoom in and zoom out with these using, I think, your sprint and crawl keys. And also, you can absolutely turn on the light, which in the original games was an absolute godsend. You could look whenever with a fully brightly illuminated area. Now, this perhaps wasn't exactly realistic, but my god was it useful. Unfortunately, this is where I feel the remasters have really missed the mark. When you turn on the lights in the remastered graphics, you can just see this small globe of light, and it's incredibly inconsistent about which areas it illuminates and which ones it doesn't. It's just not as useful as in the original graphics. So I feel the binocs in the remastered graphics do require some touch-ups, but hey, you can always just press a button to switch to the OGs and take a look more properly. Now, when it comes to the general feeling I had from the last revelation, I mean, just look at this place. It's such a night and day difference. I really couldn't be happier. Now, to be fair, this is coming from my experience of playing the early stages. Hopefully this standard of beauty will be maintained as we delve deeper into later and later levels. I especially cannot wait to see how Cairo looks with its dark apocalyptic atmosphere. I also noticed another improvement, and that's that all of Von Croy's constantly interrupting tutorial lines can be skipped with the look key. And apparently all in-game cutscenes will be skippable via holding the weapon key, being a triangle or a spacebar or anything like that. This is a phenomenal addition upon repeat playthroughs. Furthermore, I see that they haven't fixed some gripes I had. For example, at the end of the first tutorial level, depending on if you found all secrets or not, you get to choose the left path or the right path. However, Von Croy always heads to the wrong direction of what Lara says. Now, I don't know if this is intentional. I always considered it a mistake and a bug, the path of the heretical and virtuous being left and right, but it seems they haven't really addressed this either. To be fair, it would change the final challenge of the level somewhat, so I get that. And finally, really the only unstable bug or issue I have encountered with Last Revelation was, this is funny, on PlayStation 4, the first time I jumped to grab the rope, the game would crash. Which is hilarious. Ropes are notorious for being difficult to control. This just highlights that point. But it never happened on Tomb Raider 5, on PS5 or on PC. It only happened on PlayStation 4. Furthermore, I have noticed that the loading times on PlayStation 4 are really long. And honestly, the most insufferable instance of this was Angel of Darkness, where not only the loading screens would take forever, but also each time I wanted to open up the inventory, I would have to stare at a black screen for 3 to 5 seconds. This is unacceptable on PlayStation 4. It's still a powerful console, and these are not such difficult for hardware to handle games. This is an optimization issue. I have not experienced any issues like that or slowdowns on PS5 or PC, but on PS4 it can get a bit rough. Guys, if you are playing this on PS4, please share your experience with the loading times and if you've encountered any issues or bugs like I have. Now, another mystery we've all been waiting to see was how do the character models look in these remasters. And honestly, as far as 4 and 5 go, from what I've seen so far, phenomenally well. Look at Von Croy, he finally feels alive. Although honestly, this is not the kind of face I thought he would have. And one strange thing, although they are being consistent with the original, Von Croy has glasses in the FMV cutscene here where they're breaking into Angkor Wat with Lara. However, in-game, he suddenly doesn't have glasses anymore, and I actually thought the remasters would give him the glasses for this very purpose, but they didn't. That's not a negative or anything, just an odd choice because they've so far been very consistent with FMVs being the inspiration for the models. But yeah, this is Von Croy. I actually do not yet know how his older version of himself is gonna look later in Tomb Raider 4 and in Tomb Raider 5 Chronicles. So that's a mystery to me, but so far I really like what I see. And one of the biggest mysteries pre-release, young Lara. We were all concerned that young Lara is gonna look like older Lara with pigtails, but I'm happy to say they nailed it here. They finally did. She has a more profound cheeks blush, and even her facial features are slightly different that ends up looking so much younger. This is perfect. I don't see how they could have done any other job. Jonelle Elliott managed to pull off young Lara voice, and it's still as good as it was before.
Ah, a backpack. Let us hope it does not hold the same luck for you as its previous owner.
I make my own luck, Werner. What now?
Furthermore, you can absolutely give young Lara sunglasses and even switch between her backpack and non-backpack version, because remember, her character model changes after this fateful encounter. When it comes to Tomb Raider 5, again, I was blown right out of the park with how gorgeous the game looks, how it sounds, little Easter eggs and details like Lara leaving behind her beautiful opera dress on that grate, which, by the way, then just subsequently made me sad that this is not a selectable outfit from the outfit selector. Again, maybe it will be when you beat the game, but that's a big maybe. I can only tell you how the game is on launch. And it's especially a shame since fans have already pulled this off with the original level editor. Talking about a level editor, I am not aware of there being any level editor packed with Tomb Raider 5 Chronicles Remastered, and that, right now, is a huge blunder. This is such an important tool for the Tomb Raider community and has been for over 2 decades to create custom content, to keep the franchise alive, and Tomb Raider 5 came with the most updated version of the level editor. Honestly, even Tomb Raider 4 introduced the level editor, but Tomb Raider 5 just tweaked it a bit further. And to not have this as a part of the release is a huge opportunity. I really hope whoever makes these decisions, Aspyr or Saber or heck, even Embracer Group, will reconsider and give this powerful tool to the community to keep the franchise alive and going. But there have been some rumors that given the new end-of-user license agreement, that might never happen, and boy do I hope those rumors are incorrect. Now guys, maybe the biggest mystery we've all been waiting for, the Angel of Darkness, so what are my thoughts for it? I would just like to, give them to you concisely like this at the very end. So first of all, the main menu. The moment I heard that beautiful opening theme, my eyes watered a little, I am not even kidding. It is probably the greatest Tomb Raider theme of all time, even though it's a game I like the least. It's phenomenal, and the new graphics really sharpened the occult symbols, even tweaked the angle of the background occult symbol, which I found just really interesting. However, I have to say, I'm not happy with how cluttered the new remastered menu is, with the link to the Society of Raiders, or even the link to Tomb Raider Chronicles, which at least that one I can understand and respect. It's now incredibly cluttered. I prefer the much cleaner look of the original main menu, with nothing distracting you or breaking your immersion. This, as it is currently, is a bit too much for me. Now, booting up the game and getting to control Lara, I again just wanted to compare the tank with the modern controls, and I was actually mind blown. Saber have improved the tank controls as well. They didn't put all the new development just into modern controls. They have tweaked the tank controls, and let me tell you exactly how. First of all, after each jump in the original, there would be a small recovery period before you could do anything else, meaning in the original, at least PC release, you could not chain jumps together. You always had to wait for Lara to recover. It was sluggish, it was awkward, and it was painful after how fluent she was in the previous games. Furthermore, each time you wanted to run, you had to walk first until Lara would transition into run. Say goodbye to this nonsense in the remastered tank controls. You can now fully chain jumps together and you run directly. And this blew my mind to the point where I might actually prefer the tank controls to the modern controls. Here's the thing, guys. The modern controls will allow you to play the game faster and more fluently, absolutely. But despite not being grid-based like previous games, Angel of Darkness is still a precision-based game. You need to grab those very tiny ledges, even movable objects are tiny, you need to approach things from correct angle, and honestly falling from ledges sometimes is avoidable with just a little bit more precision. And this precision is where tank controls of the Angel of Darkness Remastered really shine. They are more fluent, more responsive, faster, but still precise, whereas the modern controls, I honestly just ended up falling all the time. Now this could be just me not being used to them, absolutely, I'm a tank control veteran, so just try whatever works for you. But all I want to say and bring to light with this is that Saber have also remastered and tweaked the tank controls. So just take that into consideration before you dismiss them correctly, they might be my favorite way of playing the game. Furthermore, I have noticed some remastered content already, for example, the fax scrap of paper leading to Kavia's apartment immediately being in our inventory, the entire separate training part of the level you can or don't have to engage with. By the way, I'm really happy about this, you can absolutely take both paths and retrace your steps back, which is important for us completionists, okay? One gripe I had with it is that despite going through this side alley multiple times, I never unlocked the associated parkour achievement, which is supposed to unlock after you complete the training here. This achievement just would not pop on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, nor GOG for me. I don't know what's up with that, and could be that down the line we are gonna encounter more and more broken achievements. Or maybe I got this all wrong and this is not the achievement that's supposed to unlock here, but look, it clearly shows the gate where you're gonna Commander crawl through the first time, and they even mentioned this in the pre-release, so I think some achievements in this trilogy just aren't working, as was unfortunately the case for the previous remastered trilogy. Furthermore, I noticed the difference between the PlayStation version of the game and PC. There would be additional on-screen pop-ups for the PlayStation, and that's because once again it was confirmed the devs had to remove some lines due to PSN policies. Nintendo Switch version is probably no different, although I have not yet tested that. Some lines from Jonah Elliott are missing. I'm happy to say on PC they are there, however, honestly, they are worse than in the original PC release, which I have subsequently compared, because Lara there mentions, the directional keys or things like that. But on PC version, even if you're playing with keyboard, Jonah Elliott will still mention the analog stick or controller. So that just, it's a small gripe, but I just noticed that they haven't really tweaked it fully and it was actually more correct in the original PC release. Good thing is, all these tutorial pop-ups you can skip with the action key, so that at least helps upon repeat playthroughs, but it gets a bit grating if you are taking both paths through the Parisian backstreets level. Guys, Lara's model is phenomenal, don't get me wrong, she looks great. This is the best looking Lara. They made her a little less cartoonish and a bit more realistic, but still as gorgeous and really confident as ever. But every other NPC in the game, it's not that they barely received any touch-up, they are completely identical to both the remastered and original graphics. Now personally, I think they just haven't managed to finish this in time, and in one of the future major patches we're gonna see this updated, but this is still a huge blunder on release, and I cannot just ignore the fact that no other character models were touched up. Now, to be fair, they look far better than in the previous 5 games, even in the original graphics, but still, just the visual difference between the remastered Lara and these original graphics NPCs, it just pulls me from the game and prevents me from being fully immersed in the story, which is actually the Angel of Darkness's strongest part, but this hurts it. I also had quite the problem figuring out if I'm looking at the remastered or original graphics of Tomb Raider 6 AOD, which is not a good sign when visual overhauls are one of the main selling points of a game. The differences are so slight, some of the texts are sharper, but that's really it. Lara's model herself is the best way to determine which version of the game you are looking at, and the fact that you often forget or fail to notice, again, not a great sign. Look at the inventory items, barely any difference here. In this scrap of paper it's a bit better because the text is now a little bit more legible in the remastered graphics, but when it comes to things like this key, just barely any difference whatsoever. Now, where I feel the touch-ups have actually been put into good effect is the weapons, because I can finally tell what the real-world counterpart of each weapon is supposed to be. I had no bloody idea that this is supposed to be a 9mm gun at all. These are the guns used by Lara in the previous installments with her unlimited pistols ammo, whereas these are the ones used by Angelina Jolie in the first Tomb Raider movie, or also used by Lara in Legend and Underworld, which I think is a really nice tie-in, so to speak. So yeah, the weapons have received a proper treatment. And also these pin-up girls, so there's that. So guys, those are my thoughts, and to maybe answer a question, should you go and get this remastered package, I think the answer to that question is largely gonna be determined on your own enjoyment of the previous 1 to 3 remastered package. If you have not enjoyed that experience and you gave it a fair shot, I'm sorry to say this isn't really gonna change your mind and convert you. Possibly you might find some enjoyment for Angel of Darkness, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily worth $30 or euro or your regional equivalent asking price. But if you have enjoyed 1 to 3 Remastered, who am I kidding? You already got this and you're probably having the time of your life, am I right? But for those of you who have never, played or experienced a classic Tomb Raider game in the past, I would honestly recommend give 1 to 3 Remastered a shot first before you purchase this, or maybe even both packages. I feel like Tomb Raider 1 really is perfect for learning the ropes of the basics of controls, whether it comes to modern or tank control scheme, up to you, whatever you prefer. But this is kind of the more new person-friendly game in the series, and if you find that you are having a good time with 1 to 3 Remastered and you're curious about how the series evolved, only then get 4, 5, 6. But the rest of us, we already knew we're gonna get it and experience it, and honestly, from everything I've seen so far, I do believe that the complaints I had are gonna get fixed via a couple of major patches. That remains to be seen, and of course anything I say now might quickly become completely outdated with a couple of major patches. That's an important disclaimer. Now, like I said, just first impressions, just scratching the surface of each game. I am not really planning to do a full review. Like I said, I didn't receive a review copy, but also I feel the best review I can give you for these games is to play along them with you. So I'm absolutely gonna do 100% like Let's Play series in the same way I did with 1 to 3 Remastered, where we focus on not just getting all the goodies, breaking all objects, killing all enemies, getting all secrets, but also unlocking every single achievement so they help you achieve that platinum trophy if you're playing on PS4, of course. Now, I am also currently working on Tomb Raider 3 Remastered. I just finished our first playthrough of it, every level is covered, but I'm now working on pistols only speedrun, and then I'll be working on a New Game Plus video, and then working through the Lost Artifact expansion. So it's gonna be a bit of a while, maybe 1 or 2 months before I'll start tackling the Tomb Raider 4 Remastered properly, which honestly is good because by then a couple of major patches will have released and it will not be as outdated as perhaps when I started day one with my Tomb Raider 1 Remastered last year. However, if you cannot wait, I do think I have you covered, because feel free to check out my 2021 Tomb Raider 4 Last Revelation original PC release Let's Play and Tomb Raider Chronicles from 2023, so very recently I tackled it again, the original PC release, all just patched with some widescreen patches and utilities like that to, be a bit more visually appealing. But otherwise, these have you covered as far as all goodies, all breakables, all secrets, all enemies go. And also, honestly, even as a couple of achievements go, many things I used to challenge myself in those original Let's Plays are now an achievement. For example, finishing Guardian of Samarkand level whilst being set on fire. Didn't work out well, let me tell you, and that sort of thing. Or, taking both the losing and winning path through the Tomb of Samarkand. So lots of achievements were kind of unintentionally already covered in that, so I hope these will have you covered up until I'll start proper remastered Let's Play, only when I finish things with the previous remastered trilogy. So that's essentially it. Guys, those are all my thoughts. Let me know, please, if you are gonna get it, if you got it. And for those of you who have already finished one of these games, please also let us all know how did you find your experience. That's gonna be even more valuable than me sharing some first impressions here, because I have not beaten yet any of these games. Also, do you prefer the tank control scheme or the modern control scheme? And especially, which one do you prefer in the Angel of Darkness? I'm super duper curious, but I think I'm gonna be a tank controls guy given the improvements they introduced to it and the precision that it offers that Angel of Darkness actually, despite not being grid-based, still very much requires. Anywho, so those are my thoughts, guys. Thank you for sticking around. I hope you found this useful. And before I say goodbye, I would just love to say thanks to my absolutely amazing patrons, without whom I would not be able to do this so soon. Blind Goopel, Mick, Severin Drax, Enstickle, Katie Danger, and Boo the Two. Thank you guys so much for being my loyal Winstons and for serving me a cup of energy drink for some late night video editing. Next, I would like to say big thanks to my caretaker Winstons, Michael McConkey, Karavetu, Renegade Durney, Blanket Fox, Jonathan Jones, and Tushir. Thank you guys so much for your support and also for looking after Lara's discarded opera dress. you picked it up, washed it and patched it back together so it's as good as new. I would also like to give special thanks to both of my brave veteran Winstons, Andrea Paviglianiti and Alexander. Thank you guys both so much for your valiant support of the channel, and also for prepping up, polishing and making ready both of Lara's signature dual pistols, the MV9mm and the Vector R35s. With these, she'll be an unstoppable killing machine in Angel of Darkness. And on a final note, I'd like to say a very special thanks to my one and only fine vintage Winston, Akira Foxmind. Thank you so much for your long and generous support of the channel, for all your kind comments, and also for using your special skills to freeze time, allowing me to finish this first impressions review on February 16th. Without you, I would be very late to the party indeed. And on a final note, I'd like to say thanks to my free Patreon members as well as to you guys for watching it till the very end and making it this far. I really hope today's video was useful to you in making an informed decision, and if you have already played the new Remastered trilogy, please let us know what your experience has been, especially if, unlike me, you actually finished one of the games or are getting closer to it. This will be incredibly valuable for others. And hopefully I will see you very soon in Tomb Raider 4 Remastered, and until then, I wish you all happy raiding.